Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime Business. My name is Britz. I'm Executive Coach, Leadership Facilitator and host to the Lunchtime series with my co-host Pieter Gruenbaum, Action Coach and Business and Transformational Coach. Pieter, how are you doing on this Friday afternoon?
Kevin, thank you. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Really looking forward to spring to be sprung upon us sometimes along the line. We need to get out of winter.
It couldn't come fast enough. I think, like I was just mentioning earlier, my brain has really struggled with understanding how to, get back to a bit of normalization in my head. And I can't wait. The moment we are allowed to just be a little bit more free and go out a little bit more. And I'm definitely going to be spending a lot of time outside and a lot of time just in an open space, just where
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what I'm looking forward to as well. Yeah.
So Pieter, in the last couple of sessions, we've been chatting about a wonderful process that businesses can look at, especially, young businesses, new businesses, smaller businesses that sort of need a bit of guidance on their processes and things that they should be looking out on. Today, I know that we're also running through some nice processes. Don't you want to share with the listeners and the audience what we are going to be chatting about today?
Yeah, please. Well, we've done the 6 steps that we mentioned on how to get to that results that you want to achieve in your business, so it's a commercial profitable enterprise that works without you, to get that business to work without you. And those are the 6 steps that we've discussed previously. But for today, I would really like to share with you what we call the Entrepreneurial Ladder. A lot of us call ourselves entrepreneurs, but I think this might be a little bit of a shock to some people, some business owners, if you look at where you are on this ladder. So I'm going to share that with you. I would like to first of all start sharing, just to get the mindset. I would like to share my insights with you, and
and while you're doing that, Pieter, I think one of the most, and I chat to many coaches in a week. I chat to many experts in a week. There cannot be enough said for mindset and how to get your brain on board with what you're about to do. Please go ahead and tell us more about it.
All right. Now, imagine that there's a point in the center of your screen. You're listening and not watching this broadcast. Just imagine this point in the center of a screen, or a television screen, or whatever the case may be. Now, this is a simple philosophy that when you're below this point, you blame everything, you find excuses, and even being in denial, like very relevant in the day and age that we are now in, finding blame in the government and blame for all this processes that we as a country have to go through, lockdown and stuff like that, and using that as an excuse for not going forward, and even being in denial, we weren't part of this, the process of decision making, so why should we actually do this type of thing? So as you can see, highlighted is in the red, and imagine guys listening that you're in bed. So it's very difficult to get up from this. We want you to be above the point of power.
I just want to point out, sorry, but the you're in bed is blame, excuses, and denial. So the acronym BED is blame, excuses, and denial. And that's what it does, right? It keeps you in bed. You don't want to get out of bed. It's easier to blame someone. I love that. Yes.
All right. So when you're above the point of power, you take the ownership, you take the accountability, and the responsibility. So the acronym OR stands for ownership, accountability, and responsibility. So we say that you own your ship. You take ownership of what your position is, where you are with your family, where you are with your business, where you are in your career. You take that ownership, then that will bring about accountability, and that will bring about your responsibility towards what you need to do. But that makes you a lot more powerful. Yes, please. I want you to interrupt.
No, sorry, but I just want to emphasize ownership is you take own of your ship.
Yes.
I've never heard of anyone explain it like that before. So, and
So
it's exactly the point, take own of your ship, because you get to sail in the direction that you really want to be going in. And
for
depending on
sure.
where you point your boats, I'm like, that's your ship, dude. Deal with it, deal with it effectively. That's really what it
Absolutely.
boils down to.
Okay, so that oar that you've now created, you can actually take that oar and row your ship in your direction where you want to go to.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so just to start off with that, just everywhere you go in life, this principle applies. You will always have to take ownership, always have to be accountable, and you will always take responsibility for any decision making that you do, for every task that you do, for every project that you tackle, for every business that you open. If you do that, it will make a vast difference in your way of thinking.
Yeah.
So the second thing I want to do is this is something that we all know, and we all do this, and I want to encourage people listening and watching, don't stop now, because that will say that and you sit around boardrooms and places like that, people really fold their arms and they say, but this guy, or in conferences, whatever the case may be, fold my arms, close myself up, body language, I know this, what can I learn from this? And we want to stop that and say, okay, listen, stop saying, I know, just ask the question, isn't that interesting?
Yes.
Immediately it opens you up. Do you agree?
Yeah, Peter, when you say that, I often use this quote from Brené Brown, and she does a piece from Teddy Roosevelt that she shares in some of her talks. But what it boils down to is very often people have an opinion. They'll sit back with folded arms and have an opinion about
Yes.
what you're doing and how you're doing and what you should be doing and not be doing. And one of the things that she specifically cares is if you are not in the stadium getting your ass kicked on a daily basis, I'm not interested in your opinion.
Absolutely.
And I think
Absolutely.
it's such a vital point, because rather come with an open mind, rather come with I find that interesting. That's such an interesting stance. Why do you say what you say? Or how did your brain get there? Or how are you actually putting that information together? And how are you benefiting from it? And what experiences? Rather come from a point of interest than a point of hands folded and kind of just pointing fingers, right?
Absolutely. Being opinionated.
Yes.
That's absolutely so. It opens yourself up and the people around you to say, okay, but listen, we can actually discuss this, and both parties can learn, or all the parties around the table can learn from this. Okay. So that would what we call blinding flashes of the obvious. Those are aha moments. A lot will come from, if you open yourself up, you will learn 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe 10 or 15 things that the light bulb will go up, or the flash will go up, the aha moment. All of a sudden, what you knew now makes sense. And those are the aha moments. Okay. All right. So let's look at what we're going to discuss today. What we said in the beginning is the entrepreneurial ladder. All right. So where we all start in life is as a student, scholar, student, going to college, going to university, whatever the case may be. That's where we start our lives. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's at the bottom rung of this ladder. Then we find ourselves a job, okay, and we become an employee. Now we can become a great employee, we can become not so good employee, whatever. But somewhere along the line, as people, we want to grow ourselves, and a lot of us start our own businesses. Okay, so now, out of what we've learned as an employee, we start our own business. That's a skill that we've collected over the years as being a student and an employee. So we become self-employed. But what we do as in self-employment is we only employ ourselves. Okay.
Yeah.
What we do as in being self-employed is we're replacing the salary. Well, most of us being self-employed never doesn't even pay ourselves a market-related salary, let alone talk about return on investment for what our investment in opening the business was. So at this level, we are really working in the business. We are not on the business. We are so inside, creating and working and turning and selling and making stuff so we don't really see what's going on around ourselves. So now, as this business grows, we're now starting to employ people. Wow. Now we become a manager again. Maybe we were a manager as an employee. Okay. But now we've become a manager in our own business. We are still working just as hard, just as long hours, just as little work, money that we pay ourselves because of the cash flow and things like that happens. But we've now got 2, 3, or 10 or 15 employees that work for us. Now we're still at the managerial level. Once this grows and this is where the 6 steps comes in so brilliantly. We, as coaching, we can take you through these levels. I would like to ask the people at this stage, just comment on where you think you are as we go along.
Yeah.
So as you grow your business, now you only become a business owner. Okay. Now this level is where you can start making profit, real profit, where you can start investing in new equipment, start investing in your people, get them skilled, get them trained, get them coached, get them to different levels, so that you as well as owner can grow yourself. Okay. Because the next level is where you truly want to become as soon as possible. Okay. Now you become an investor. Once you're an investor, you start buying new businesses. You start buying, investing what you've earned out of the business that you have. You start investing in property, in creating that wealth. Okay.
Yeah.
Now the next level, and this is where everybody wants to be, is the entrepreneur. Okay. So when are we really an entrepreneur? Well, we really are an entrepreneur if we like a Richard Branson or a Bill Gates or one of these guys, where other people invest in what your ideas are, and you are attracting people from outside in, and you are actually building a business with other people's money. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So now this is where we need to be, and where we want to come to, is the fact that we are entrepreneurs in where other people can invest. That's now your business that works without you, where you've got a passive income, like the investor. You've got many business incomes or spheres of income over a spectrum of businesses. So going through this, please let us know where you find yourself. And a lot of people are stuck at the manager level. A lot of people are stuck at the owner level. Some people with big businesses are still stuck at the self-employed business level of rung, because they haven't found a way to break through to the next level of being a manager. Although they've got people working for them, they are still so busy inside the business themselves that they don't see what's outside and the growth possibility. And to break through, that's where coaching comes in. We as business coaches and you as leadership coaches, that's where this coaching comes in, is to all the knowledge and all the skills and all the experience that you've received and gained over the period of time. As a coach, we give you the growth, combining that into plans, into actions, into really giving you the opportunity to grow to the next level, to the next level, to the next level.
Pieter, so what I want to ask is, from your perspective, what do you think is the one key, if you had to point it down to one thing, because I know what it is for me, but I first wanted to check with you, what do you think is the one thing that holds people back from becoming more or doing more?
Well, the one thing I would say, specifically today, I think is fear of the unknown, And then the second thing that actually goes hand in hand for me, and it's really difficult for me to actually differentiate between the two, is self-belief. We don't believe that we are actually not just capable, are worthy of becoming an entrepreneur. That's for other people. It's not for us.
Yeah, because and I love the fact that you say that, because for me, what stands out predominantly in doing what I've done, I started a business 5 years ago. Where are we now? About 5 years ago, where someone said, "Well, why don't you just teach people about what you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, I suppose I can do that. I know how to put, something like a module of information together." And my first step was, it literally was an idea. There was nothing. There was no existence of a business. And I went from creating an idea into an actual module, into a registered company. And I started advertising on Gumtree, because I didn't have marketing budget, or I was like, okay, well, that's where I'm going to start. And I found my first executive for teaching about presentation skills, by just putting it together and, putting a module together and putting it out there, and hopefully someone was going to notice and pay attention to it. And I think the one common feature or foundational point that stands out for me often is the fear of failure. People are so afraid of failing. I was afraid of doing video content, and it was a very big question for me to kind of go, okay, but what the hell am I going to talk about, and what will I be able to say that no one else is already saying? And essentially, when the Lunchtime series came about, I kind of figured out, I don't need to be perfect in doing this. I don't need to have all the answers. And that's what's great about having conversations with experts like yourself, is part of my brain was like, what, I'm okay with failing, because when I fail, I learn from it. And I think a lot of, if I look at the rung of the ladder, moving in towards from student to employee, all the way right up to entrepreneur, I think part of your knee-jerk kind of methodology behind why you do what you do on a daily basis really should just stem from a place of, well, I'm okay to fail, because when I fail, I learn, and I know when I've learned that, I won't be doing it again. So I think fear of failure is a big standing block. One of the, I don't know if you know Gary Vee, he's the Balzerian American entrepreneur.
Yes.
Such an innovative man, and also has such a strong opinion and swears like a sailor. But the interesting fact about him is, it's one of the things that I was watching the other day was, he kind of poses the question of going, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Someone to come and hold your hand and kind of go, okay, come on, you gotta go out there and create some videos. You gotta create some more information for people. You've got to put content together. You've got to phone 100 people. What are you waiting for? And specifically in the times that we find ourselves, we don't have the luxury of just waiting around until something kind of appears and someone suddenly says something that makes sense. We literally have to fail forward and fail quickly.
Absolutely.
And the more I create as a normal method of growth, and the more I become accustomed to how it feels like to be outside my comfort zone. And COVID been a beautiful example of pushing people right out of their comfort zone and saying, okay, well, try and deal with this now.
Absolutely.
And so many, because specifically in South Africa, but across the world, so many people are unemployed and have gone from hero to zero within like a space of a month, and people are struggling, but the question is, it's something I posted on, I don't know if you saw it yesterday, something I posted on Facebook yesterday, is the question is, because it happened to everyone, it happened to me. And one of the clear moments that I experienced from going through my processes in the last 6 months is my brain instinctively wanted to go, well, what is bigger than this moment right now? And the moment I kind of went, well, that's bigger, and what's bigger than that, and that's bigger, and suddenly it just sort of snowballed into a whole new product, and that's the Lunchtime series. So it's I think fear of failure is really what holds people back, in my opinion. I think it's really a big stumbling block.
Absolutely. And the other thing is that you've mentioned, you said, but we ask ourselves a question, do we have enough knowledge? We always, well, not always, but a lot of us think that we need to know it all to enable us to actually be a success. Wow. If you look at Henry Ford, what was his opinion about that? Henry Ford said, you know this, that he was in court and defended himself about
Yes.
what. In the end, he said, but if I want to know something, I'll phone someone that knows. Why should I know everything? And he was, well, it's a company that's like going for 150 years old. That's been established. So that's also something that I think is a lot of people stumble against. They get to this, but I need to know it all. And it's not going to work. Look like what we've been doing for the past 3, 4 months, 5 months now.
Exactly.
And how it's involved and how people gain from it and benefit from it.
And also, I think part of leadership and becoming that leader in your environment, in your world, in the thing you're doing is part of that foundation really needs to have a bit of humility. And, because if you don't, you kind of just come across as a know-it-all, first of all.
Precisely,
And it's people don't necessarily need to connect or want to connect with someone who thinks they know everything. So I find it quite a enlightening and kind of fun to be around someone who goes, damn, I really actually didn't know the answer to that. I have no idea, but I'll find out.
Precisely.
It just shows a bit of humility in that person.
Well, that's what coaching makes so beautiful for me.
Yeah.
Is actually specifically that fact that you're now mentioning. It's my BFO for this session, is that we as coaches don't know it all. Okay.
No.
But you as business owner and where you are with your MBA, with your degrees in engineering, whatever the case may be, okay, those skills, that knowledge, everything. As a coach, we come now talk about what you know and how you can implement that in your business in growing forward and failing forward. But now there's a coach to pick you up. Say, okay, but listen, we've done this. Analyze what's been wrong or what's been right, and looking at it a different way. That's what coaching is for me, is actually being not to know it all. Well, we can't know it all. There's no way, because we coach across the spectrum of mining clients and wherever, retail, you name it. We can't know it all. But we know
exactly.
We know how to make you as a person better.
I find, that an interesting interview that I also watched about Gary Vee. He's been on my radar for the last few days, and one of the things that an interviewer asks him is, you don't have an MBA, and she comments on someone who has an MBA who had something to say about Gary Vee, and he said, "Do you know what? Show me a man who has an MBA who started a business from scratch that can do what I do today." And, I'm not saying that MBA people don't know how to do that, but it's an interesting point, because I think a lot of the time people want to throw that sort of title in the way of their own leadership and kind of go, well, this must mean that I know exactly what I'm doing. And yet it doesn't necessarily mean that, right?
Absolutely.
But Pieter, I know that we only have half an hour sessions for this. So just to reiterate, the entrepreneurial ladder, it's a bit of a tongue twister. Starts out from student, we move into employee, then we move into, what's the next ones? It's manager.
Self-employment.
Self-employment.
Yeah, then we move into manager. And from manager, we evolve hopefully into a business owner, which will evolve into an investor, investing in other properties, in other businesses, and then become an entrepreneur to create opportunities for other people to invest in your business so that can grow.
That's fantastic. Well, at the rate that I'm going, I'm sure I'm heading for that entrepreneurs.
We're all going there.
Title as soon as possible. Pieter, thank you so much. Thank you for chatting. This is Lunchtime Business, happening every Friday and happening around at 12. Every Friday, we aim at adding as much value to people and businesses out there. Thank you for joining me, Pieter, and we will chat to you next week.
Thank you, Kevin. All the best. Just a last invitation to the people out there that's listening and wants to know a little bit more about this. I offer a free coaching session for an hour and a half. Contact me on my social media. Send me an email. Send me a comment with your details. Get in touch with me so that we can discuss this.
Fantastic. Pieter, thank you so much. And I will see you next week.